Hello, everybody. In this lecture, we are going to talk about a couple of just very various things about viruses that we haven't talked about yet. So let's get right into it. So the only real objective I have for you is by the end of this module, you should be able to differentiate between broad and narrow tropisms. And so when we're talking about tropism, when we're talking about the host level, we sometimes call it host range, or host tropism. This refers to what species an individual virus can infect. For example, the myxoma virus normally infects rabbits, but not humans, as we see in this image. So that would have a narrow host tropism for rabbits. Um, although viruses vary in their tropism. Measles is a virus that only infects humans. On the other hand, cucumber mosaic virus infects several different plants. And so measles has a narrow host tropism, or a narrow host range, and cucumber mosaic virus has a broad host range or a broad host tropism. Now, um, alternatively, we can also think about tropism from the standpoint of tissues or cell specificity. And this is going to be determined primarily by the viral surface factors and what they can bind to. Some viruses can infect a wide range of host cells or tissues. This is a broad tropism. Now, SARS-CoV-2 has a broad um, host tropism. It can bind to this ACE2 receptor, which is found in all these different parts of the body that are being shown here. And so you can see, regardless of um, which tissue type we're talking about, there's a good chance that it's going to end up with having this ACE2 receptor on it. And that is why COVID has so many um, long-term problems or problems with in different parts of the body other than just the lungs. Now, on the other hand, viruses can, if they can only infect a one type of host cell or tissue, this would be a narrow tropism. For example, HIV. It binds to the CD4 receptors um, on T cells. And so that's what HIV infects. So that's a very narrow cell tropism. Now, just to reiterate some stuff that we've already talked about, viruses vary in size. They're generally quite small, right? So even the biggest viruses are rarely bigger than bacteria, but they can be bigger than some of the really small ones. Um, we see over here something like Ebola, which is 970 nanometers. It's a pretty small virus. Um, and then you have like larger viruses like the pithovirus, which I believe is a marine virus that can get quite big, that can be upwards of about 1500 nanometers, which is almost as big as an E. coli, and it's bigger than bacteria like Mycoplasma. Viruses are named using some standardized rules. There are a couple of ways to talk about viral naming. There aren't various domains or kingdoms. The highest level that we uh, that we classify them into are the phylum level. And under the phylum, we have order, family, genus, species. Sometimes there's subfamilies. So oftentimes you'll hear viruses referred to by their family. And here's a list of or here's an example of what it might look like for an individual virus. It could be in the order Herpes viralis, and then family Herpes viridae, subfamily Alpha Herpes virinae, genus simplex virus, species human herpes virus 1, aka herpes simplex virus 1. And so this is just an example of how they are classified. And viruses that are in the same family are going to be more closely related to each other than viruses that are in different families. All right. So that was a couple of different tidbits about viruses that we hadn't talked about yet. But the big thing that I want you to be able to do at this point is to differentiate between those broad and narrow tropisms. And I hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.